Have you heard that now we have a translator? So basically now you can talk to your cat and even your dog. Microsoft AI launches a new model and now it's the best one. Can you believe that? You will be able to create porn locally on your computer. And Codex now works even on your mobile phone. So basically you can work 24/7 without access to your laptop.
Houston, we have a problem.
Welcome to Morning AI Drip. My name is Dennis, and on this channel we talk about AI. And this is our weekly AI news roundup, where I break down all the major events that happened in artificial intelligence industry for the previous week. I also try to throw in some jokes that are almost funny and posting some memes that are almost fresh. Because who doesn't like a good meme, do you? So if you do, subscribe to this channel because we dive in. Let's begin with probably the most important event that happened in the previous week in AI space, and this is Microsoft Build. This is annual conference that was held in San Francisco, 2nd, 3rd June. It was about what it was? AI. So yeah, this conference mostly was about AI because in the previous episode we're talking about Google I/O, which is annual developers conference by Google, where they represent new updates and new products, and most of them were about AI and AI features in those products. And on Microsoft Build, basically AI was the main topic, and they represented so many new things. To make it easier, let's go to their website and let's check actually what they offer in AI space. First of all, if you go to their website, which is microsoft.ai, you will find the most important things they want to underline from the very beginning. And basically, this is a message they try to convince people and humanity that their AI is built to help people, not to replace them. And as you can see in the hero page, this is humanist superintelligence. And if you go deeper, you will find out that their core idea is that they are building AI with humanity in the center of every decision and in service of humanity. This is a very important message because on the conference itself, they started with this message and they finished underlying this message. Why it's important? Because recently we heard so many things from AI guys that AI is going to replace everyone, AI will take your job, etc. Basically, obviously, a lot of people started hate AIs. If you go out of Bay Area in Silicon Valley, probably Sam Altman and all those tech giants, they're most hated people in the world. If you go somewhere in Ohio or Indiana, I don't think anyone is very happy about AI is going to take their job, obviously. That's why basically a lot of those guys that were telling that they're disruptors, they're going to change everything in this space, actually changing the shoes and started talking about, oh, don't worry, AI is not going to replace you, it's going to serve you. And again, one of such disruptor was Sam Altman. On this week, he had also a new interview. Basically, what he said that AI unlikely to lead to AI job apocalypse. To make his citation more directly, he said that I'm delighted to be wrong about this. I thought there would have been more impact on entry-level white-collar jobs being eliminated by now than has actually happened. But many people actually accuse him because they say, oh, of course, OpenAI is going to IPO. They need to attract people. They need to look very good on PR side. That's why a lot of people actually still don't trust Sam Altman and all these tech giants. That's important. I think it's very good that those companies try to underline that human in the center. Guys, you should create AI for people, not against people. And a little bit off topic, but continuing the same idea about tech giants and the message that people are not afraid of AI, they are more worried about people who lead this AI revolution. I was watching Diary of CEO, a very amazing podcast about where is this AI revolution going on and who leads this revolution. And there was the episode of Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is one of the founders of PayPal and so-called PayPal mafia, tech billionaire, very influential guy. And he was asked a simple question do you want humanity to win this race? And he was hesitating for 20 seconds before answering, and his answer was yes, but it's just 20 seconds, but I want to show you this
thing you worry about. I think you would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would.
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit
Should
in this.
the human race survive?
Yes.
Okay.
But.
Yes. And it was pretty long hesitation. So obviously people watching such interviews, they have concerns hey, these guys are building something very powerful and these guys will have the access to this tool. And of course they have concerns. That's why I think all this, like Sam Altman and all other AI disruptors, they try to make what the PR department says, what message they need to send to the people. And Microsoft Build was actually very focused on the humanity in the center, humanity first. Yeah. So, but basically, let's come back to Microsoft Build because this episode is about Microsoft Build. So if we go to their website, which actually looks very, very simple, and I'm surprised by simplicity of these AI companies. If you go to OpenAI or to Anthropic website, they look very, very simple. And here is basically the Microsoft AI keynote transcript. Again, if you watch like this video, probably like 20 minutes with the main keynote, they started with the idea, we are building AI that is going to help people, and they finishing with the idea, hey, we're collaborating with Maia Clinic, which is one of the biggest healthcare provider in the United States and in the world, because we want to build AI that is going to help people to be healthier. And this is actually good news, but again, we need to filter like where it's just PR activities versus it's like real intent of the company. So, but anyway, on this conference, Microsoft presented 7 new models, and some of them are really fascinating. So first of all, I want to say that they started from Microsoft AI Image 2.5, and actually now it's number 2 on the leaderboard, surpassing the score only to Nano Banana 2 for image editing. And this is actually very powerful beginning. They represent what benchmarks they use for this comparison. And if we go to this website, arena.ai, basically what is Arena AI? This is LLM Arena, where everyone can go to this website, put your prompt, and you will get 2 answers from 2 different models, and you don't know which model is. And after the answer, you just choose which one you prefer, which one is better. And this is kind of like blind testing of models and comparison of those models. This is a very powerful benchmark. It's not applicable to every benchmark, like for software development, we cannot just compare like that, but for thinking and for reasoning, this benchmark is used as one of the most important. As you can see here, Microsoft AI is actually on the 2nd place, surpassing actually to GPT Image 2, even though on their official website they say that they surpass this place to Nano Banana, but anyway, Microsoft AI is on the 2nd place. So coming back to their conference, they also represented new model for transcription. This is called Microsoft AI Transcribe 1.5, and this is the best transcription model in the industry nowadays. So this is like the first show up of such model, and it's already the best, so it's very powerful move by Microsoft, and it's already operating with 43 different languages. And just imagine what we're gonna see just in 1 year from now. After that, they also represented some voice models, and of course their Microsoft AI Thinking 1, which is their main model. But what's interesting, they compare it here with Sonnet 4.6, which is not bad, because Sonnet 4.6 is very powerful model, but this is not like leading ones, because we know that from Anthropic there is Opus 4.8, and this is Sonnet 4.6. So this is like medium level model for now, but again, this is just first show up from Microsoft AI, and it's pretty good already. By the way, I just wanted to point your attention at the website. Just look at it. It's very difficult to find here any information, because it's just like a transcript and there is no headings, etc. And it's just interesting that those companies, they have so much money, they could easily build very beautiful design and template, etc. But they try to be very simple, and you should focus on content, not the design itself. But in my opinion, it's still very difficult to navigate through their website. Even for me, it's pretty hard to find any information here. And as I said, they try to put this message everywhere they can, that they try to create humanistic superintelligence at Microsoft. And again, this is very powerful message, because there is so much hate from people that are not from Bay Area about AI. That's why those companies should create this humanistic first, human in the center AI. And one more interesting point I wanted to underline here, because during the presentation, they also tried to sell the idea that they are pretty independent AI companies. They use own chips like Maia 200, and it's like a powerful signal that they are not dependent only on Nvidia chips, as well as they said that they didn't use distillation of data. And what is distillation of data? When you use data, like answers from other LLMs. And basically they say they didn't use it. And by the way, DeepSeek R1, Chinese model that was released and was accused that they use distillation from OpenAI, and it helps them to build their AI very quickly. even though it's almost impossible to prove that, but everyone understands that. And Microsoft AI said that they haven't used any distillation data from other models, and they taught their model on their data sets, not from distillation data from other LLMs. And this is like a powerful message that, hey, we are building independent AI. We are completely different. We are independent AI. And in my opinion, this is very powerful move from Microsoft to join this AI race. By the way, we record these videos only once per week, but if you want to keep up with all the AI news and cut through all the noise and read only what's really important, I really highly recommend you to subscribe to our newsletter, because this is one of the best newsletters. 5 minutes per day, you can understand everything what's happening in AI. Here is an example of our issue from June 3rd. So basically, as soon as Microsoft Build finished, we already posted all the major ideas from the conference. As you can see, there are just 5 stories per day. We explain why it matters to you, as well as we provide source of information, so you can always go deeper and check yourself the original source. But yeah, just 5 quick short stories and you will be updated with everything what's important in AI industry. So opt into our newsletter and we move on. And Microsoft Build was not the only event that happened in June that was important for AI space, because there was another show also in the beginning of June, and it's called Computex. It was in Taipei, Taiwan, and that was mostly about chips, robotics, etc. And basically it's a major tech trade show in Taipei, and this year it was heavily about AI. And also chips, robotics, and as Expo itself says, the main topic was AI together. There were so many new updates, but probably the most important one that Nvidia represented their new chip, which is called RTX Spark. And why it's important, because basically Nvidia want to put a serious AI compute directly inside laptops and small desktops, so AI agents can run locally on your computer. And as you can see, Nvidia unveiled this Nvidia RTX Spark, new super chip that reinvents Windows PCs for the era of personal AI agent. Basically what that means that you will be able to run some models locally on your PC, on your laptop. You don't need connection to internet. For example, if you fly somewhere and you cannot go to ChatGPT or Anthropic, etc., you can run those models locally on your PC. And it's also very nice in terms of decentralization, because again, right now, everything that's going in ChatGPT, it's going to cloud, it's going to servers of those companies, and it's kind of like monopolization and centralization of that data on the cloud services of those companies. And having such chips can make this technology more independent, more decentralized, and this is amazing news. But there are also many concerns that having such model on your laptop, you will be able to create everything you want without filters from those companies. And a lot of people have concerns that, hey, maybe there are going to be more fakes, more scam practices, or creating like deep fakes, some porn with celebrities, etc. It's already circling in the internet, but just imagine when you will have such powerful chips and laptops that you will be able to create it inside your computer. On the one hand, it's the decentralization. On the other, we always should remember that there will be some people that can use that for bad actions against humanity or for their own profit. But in general, I personally think decentralization and competition is always good for humanity. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think this is a good idea to give such laptops to people, or it's better to keep everything in clouds and those companies will provide filters and some compliance what AI can generate? Do you remember in the previous episodes I was joking that we get models every day some new GPT, new Gemini, new Microsoft AI, etc. So this episode is not exception, because we got a new model from Anthropic, the best model so far. It's called Opus 4.8, and if we go to their website just to check why this model is so different, to be honest, there are nothing like game-changing. There are some improvements in general for coding, for multidisciplinary reasoning, etc. But it's not very significant jump as it was with Opus 4.7 or GPT 5.5. But what's the main improvement of this model? As Anthropic itself says, that one of the most prominent improvement is Opus 4.8, it's honesty. So basically now when you ask something, this LLM, and it doesn't know the answer for sure, it will not create and with full confidence reply to you, hey, this is how it works. So it's going to be more honest, and it's supposed to tell you like, sorry, but I'm not aware, I'm not sure, I cannot answer that question. And I think it's very important, because recently I noticed so many people using some answers from LLMs without any proving them, without any second opinion, and they are 100% sure that they are right. So basically this is a good improvement, in my opinion, small one but important one. What's more interesting about Anthropic, because just in the beginning of June, Anthropic raised 65 billion. This is already serious age. Their post-money valuation is almost $1 trillion, which makes them more expensive than OpenAI, because OpenAI was evaluated approximately 850 billions, which is also almost $1 trillion. So just imagine that the company jumped almost 50 times just in 2 years. It's still a private company and it costs already almost $1 trillion. This is some crazy numbers. I'm not sure you understand how crazy is this, but $1 trillion just for 2-year-old company, this is something crazy, guys. Next, news coming from China, because Chinese AI company launches their pet translator, and they say that this is 95% accurate, which sounds a little bit weird, but anyway. In general, like in the United States, almost everyone has either dog or cat, and this pet market, pet tech is very lucrative market. And of course, many companies would like to create some products for this piece of market, and there were already in the market many applications that can understand your pets, etc., but they were made more for human, not like real translators. But Chinese AI companies, which is basically backed by Alibaba AI, which is pretty powerful one, they say that they actually created a new translator that's backed by very huge data about pets, and now we can understand some ideas from pets. It's not expensive at all. If we go and check some ideas from this product, basically it's going to cost just around $120. According to the company, is powered by Alibaba Cloud Win language model, which is again not the best one, but definitely a good one. How it looks like, you just put it around the neck of your pet and it's going to recognize their behavior, many other signals, and it's going to be accurate at 95%. And of course, there is a lot of skepticism about this 95% accuracy, because there is no scientific evidence like how you can measure that your translator is correct at 95%. Basically, this is a very bold claim, and I think this is more marketing rather than any proven concept, to be honest. But anyway, it's very nice to make at least some steps towards understanding our animals, and who knows, maybe AI will help us to create that translator and we will be able to talk to our little friends. And last but not least, the news coming from OpenAI, because now Codex is available on Windows PC as well as on your mobile phone. And for those who doesn't know what is Codex, Codex is basically the same as ChatGPT, but more powerful. Basically, everything that you can do inside GPT, you can do in Codex, but not everything you can do in Codex, you can do in ChatGPT. Codex lives in your local computer, whereas ChatGPT only in cloud. And for example, if you need to ask something like, hey, can you check all my downloaded files that I didn't open for the last 30 days and just delete them? In ChatGPT, you will not be able to do that, but with Codex, you will be able to do that. And this is really amazing. I already started using it, and I really advise everyone who likes ChatGPT, just try Codex and you will never come back just to ChatGPT, because again, you have everything what you have in ChatGPT, but even more. This is like more agentic, your personal assistant. And one of the use cases I just had a few days ago, that I had to go for a quick walk and I forgot about my meeting, and I just realized on my phone that I had some meeting and I'm not in time for that meeting. And I was on the go. I couldn't even conveniently type the text. So what I did, I just dictated to my Codex, hey, go to my calendar, check all the attendees of this meeting, and write a polite email with apologies that, sorry guys, I cannot attend this meeting due to some personal issues. And it did. It went to Google Calendar, it found all the recipients, it created a very beautiful and polite message and sent it for me. So basically, I just spent 10 seconds to tell this to my personal assistant, and it resolved my problem, and in a very polite way. I wouldn't be able to write such a beautiful email as it did. And it's very convenient. So basically now, having your phone, you have access to your laptop, and whatever you can do on your laptop, now basically you can do with your phone. And this is amazing. Just try Codex and you will never come back to basic ChatGPT version. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you liked this episode of Weekly AI News Roundup. And remember that AI will not replace you, but that's not for sure. But people that use AI will replace you, and that's for sure. So in order to keep up with all these AI updates, be sure to subscribe to this channel, opt into our newsletter, and I will see you in a week. Bye bye, guys.